Mr. Marc Daly, he filed a motion the other day basically saying that he wants Kenya to be found in contempt of their custody agreement because he is one, or she is one, according to him, using Brooklyn for economic opportunities, sponsorships, and brand deals onto the Instagram and not telling him about it. She's two, having her appear on the Real Housewives of Atlanta in the face of danger. He cited a situation with Marlo Hampton banging and slamming on the door and things of that nature. And then number three, he feels as though Miss Kenya Moore hair care is thwarting his opportunities to talk and FaceTime and see his child in real life. Okay? It is an entire hot mess, but the girls onto the Twitter, they're blaming Marlo Hampton. They are saying that Marlo Hampton needs to be reported to NBC Universal HR. Do they have HR over there? Wasn't Giselle trying to have sex with Andy? Didn't Nene say that it was a hostile work environment and that Kim Zolciak had all those microaggressions being racist and whatnot, talking about racism didn't exist and this, that, and the third? Then Teresa hit her boss. I don't believe Bravo and NBC Universal even have HR, child. I mean, the things that they've let slide over there at that damn network. Listen, but they are blaming Marlo Hampton and the rest of the girls for this little situation. So listen, let me go ahead and pull up these tweets. It's quite interesting. Shout out to Mr. 305. Is that Miami? Marlo is a low class. She is a better fit for the Zeus network. Listen, BK Breezy ATL wrote, does she have no self-control? Speaking of Marlo, regardless if she knew Brooklyn was in the room or not, that goes for Sheree and whoever else participated in the banging. It was uncalled for. Which I do agree that the banging was uncalled for. And I definitely got Marlo together. I mean, you so desperately want the attention of Miss Kenya Moore hair care that you were, silly enough to bang on that door and cuss her out. And then Kenya was forced to cuss you out. And then you woke up the little baby girl and she's crying and she's wondering what the hell going on. And Brooklyn is all confused and Kenya Moore is frazzled and she has COVID and the flu and she's nervous about this, what y'all say is a fake halftime show. And then Manyetta's trying to have her back, but Manyetta doesn't have a voice to save her life. She's like the Little Mermaid who traded in her voice for some legs. A whole hot damn mess. Listen, okay, BK Breezy, that was your tweet. Soulless. Where do y'all get these names from? Can't stand Marlo, but this is all on Marc. Oh my God. Finally, a tweet that actually makes a little bit of sense. He's the real villain in this, and he seems like the type of person that'll want to drag her to court for any reason because he just wants to make her life more difficult. I totally 100% agree with that. I feel as though even if Marlo was polite about the situation and not, it still would have been an issue. And not only that, remember at the beginning of this very video, I said that the scene about Marlo was not the only incident that was cited. Okay, next tweet. Let's see what the people are saying. Marisa, Kenya is well aware that anything she says and does on that show can be used against her. It's not fair, but the alternative is not being on to the show. She did not help matters that night by cursing and screaming with her child when her child was in the room. We have this young lady on to the Twitters. She wrote, Kenya, what'd she say? Kenya also repeating the part about Brooklyn being scared did not help her case either. She focused on getting Marlo and forgot the conditions that the judge gave on Brooklyn filming. I mean, does Miss Thing have a point? Does she have a point? Now say it loud. I feel like this is problematic. I remember this tweet being problematic when I screenshot it. Kenya wouldn't stay off the show to protect her marriage, so she won't do it to protect her child from long-term effects of being on the show with toxic situations. It's money but for her child. So do y'all think it's Kenya's fault? Do you think Kenya is putting money before her child? Do you think that because her situation with Marc Daly is so sensitive that she shouldn't be on the show? I don't agree with that. I don't think that Kenya should not be on the show because her baby daddy ain't shit. I don't think she should quit her job because her baby daddy is working on her last nerve. I feel like she should be able to do what she do before she had the child and when she was with the man, right? With the nose ring. So I don't think that's completely fair. But I do feel as though, you know how Nene said it's some women, who got one baby in their arms, another in the belly, cooking up, another in the stroller, walking down the street, waiting on the corner, taking the city bus to get somewhere on time. If those women can do it, then you can do it. And I think, I hate to judge the situation because I don't know who her village is. I don't know if she's scared off Aunt Lori and Brandon and Cousin Shay and all those other family members, the grandfather. But it just surprises me that everyone else with multiple children can find accommodations for them, but yet Kenya Moore every time fails to do so when she has a whole father and you could simply just send her off to New York. Like, I don't really understand that myself, but listen, no judgment here. I'm not a parent. I'm not here to judge. Martinis with Eddie wrote, Marlo's actions might cause a lot of trouble to Kenya, and I hope Kenya drags her at the reunion for this. How about Kenya drag her husband? She doesn't let her friends or her girlfriends or the people around her get away with anything, but yet you let this man get away with everything. Why is that? The same energy that you have with Marlo, the way you cussed out Marlo, that's the same way you need to cuss out Marc. The same way you be coming for Sonya, that's the same way you need to come for Marc. The same way you dragged Drew Sidor her first season is the same way you need to drag up Marc. I mean, I'm just saying. I feel like that's her energy. I think this person is basically, letting it be known that if Marlo knew the information about the custody agreement, then, if she knew this information, then her actions, as far as banging onto the door, they were deliberate. Okay? So anyways, I could keep going and going and going and going and going. But y'all got to let me know how y'all feel about that situation in the comments down below. It's really interesting. Now, speaking of Kenya's family life, we have the gay best friend, Brandon, who got beat up by Apollo. We have Aunt Lori, who we haven't seen in years, Cousin Shay. And then we have Brooklyn's grandfather, also known as Kenya's father. Now, in last Sunday's episode, we got this iPhone footage where Brooklyn, who I believe is 4, met her grandfather for the first time. And that was either late last year or early this year. I was kind of flabbergasted at the situation. And again, I don't want to judge it because I know Kenya, she's a single mother and she's a businesswoman. She's an entrepreneur. She's a reality TV star. She has jobs. She's busy. She's trying to make it work. I don't know the ins and outs of this village. But I would just assume, as a woman who doesn't have a relationship with her mother, but has a relationship with the father, I would assume you would kind of like summon the father to be around more. But to see that the girl is 4 and it's just meeting the grandfather, I thought that was a little strange. I'm not going to lie about the situation. I thought that was a bit strange. I'm like, well, why aren't you tapping in your village? But listen, I don't know the ins and outs. But some of the girls were upset. So listen, it took Brooklyn 4 years to meet her grandfather, but it only took Roy a month or 2 or 3. Now listen, I totally forgot to screenshot the scene, to screen record this scene. But Roy, we talked about this 2 days ago. Roy came and surprised Kenya at her Kenya Moore hair care commercial shoot, right? So the guy came in with all his Kel wraps and his Kel smoothies and things of that nature. And before he left, he went up to Brooklyn and was like, bye, Brooklyn. See you later, Brooklyn. And Roy, the boyfriend, and Brooklyn, the daughter, they were in this side room. I didn't see any other adults around. Maybe there were, but it looked like it was just the two of them in a corner. So I found it really interesting. Number one, I was talking to one of my good friends and he basically told me he didn't like that. He found it to be creepy that Roy was even talking to Brooklyn. And I was like, men, they get such a bad rap, and you know what I mean? I don't find it to be an issue for the boyfriend or, to say hey or bye to the baby girl or whatever. Y'all know. But I know he's not the only one with that opinion. It's kind of like, oh, it's creepy and they're alone and where are the other adults and why is he even meeting her? And this is a new relationship. Did Marc give Kenya permission to introduce Brooklyn to these other men's? Whoa, a lot to unpack there. A lot to unpack. I didn't really think it was a big deal, but I'm just posing a question. Okay, I'm just posing the question. And then I feel like I haven't talked about Kenya this much in like a year or two. Y'all love to say, oh, I use Kenya for clickbait. Honestly, Kenya hasn't done anything in the past 2 years that has been remotely interesting. So it's so weird talking about her life again. It's been so still and dry. Anyways, so yeah, that was one thing. And then the other thing that I felt like was kind of weird is that you've only been dating this man, let's assume for a month or 2 or 3. But it took the grandfather 4 years, but it only took the boyfriend 2 months. Like that was kind of odd to me. I was like, okay. Interesting. Anyways, y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation in the comments down below. Speaking of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, this past episode garnered 835,000 live viewers, the second highest rated episode of the season. Is that how you say it? Listen, that's the episode with Kim Zolciak and stuff like that. So the people are saying that Kim Zolciak, and I think Sonya's even, made the ratings go up. Okay. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day.